unboxing. It's something I've not done before. This is an all-in-one water cooler system. Specifically, it's the Gamemax Iceberg 240, which is a 240mm all-in-one liquid cooler, suitable for Intel and AMD platforms. So we'll get it open, we'll have a look in the box and see what comes in. Okay, so we've got the box open. Several pieces in here. First things we've got is a couple of 240mm Gamemax LED fans. Now these aren't ARGB, so I'm assuming because all they've got is a 4-pin PWM plug on them that the RGB is auto rotating. These are just a sleeve bearing fan. As you can see, they've got the Gamemax logo in the middle of the fan. Nothing on the back, so all the RGB is within this ring here. It has rubber corner protectors for anti-vibration, both on the rear and on the front, so no matter how you mount these, whether you mount them as a pull configuration through the front of the case, so you've got the RGB showing through the front, or whether you've got it mounted in the back of the case, screwed in from the back, with the RGB showing inside the case to come through a side window, you're always going to see the RGB, but you've got rubber mounting for anti-vibration both sides of the fan. So that's the fans. Obviously the instruction booklet. We've got bags full of fixings, both for, like I said, AMD and Intel. Several different pieces here. Sticky pad there, I'm not sure what that's for. So that's, as it says on the bag, don't know if that picks up on the camera, those are for Intel items. There's a mounting plate for Intel. We have a fan splitter, so that if you are mounting these together on the AIO, well, you will be mounting them together on the AIO, you only need one fan header on your motherboard to run both of the fans, because you've got one fan header going to a fan splitter to run both the fans. So only one header required. We then have a bag of fittings for AMD. Now it says in the box that it is suitable for AM4. Now, having looked at the clips, I will assume that when they say AM4 they mean using the plastic clips that normally come on an AM4 motherboard, the ones that you normally remove to fit the AMD Wraith coolers that come with the Ryzen CPU. So these will normally use the clip-on ones that clip on either side of the socket. We've got our miscellaneous screws of different lengths for screwing the fans to the radiator, and then we also have a tube of coolant paste. So that's that. Now, as far as the AIO is concerned, so we've got braided sleeving on the rubber hoses. It's, what's that, a 25-30mm thick radiator. You do have a refill and drain plug on the top there of the rad, and there's your AIO, your actual pump unit, which again only has, well, actually has a 3-pin CPU fan header plug on it. So again, like the fans, I'm going to assume that the RGB in this, because there is RGB behind that Gamemax icon, I'm going to assume that the RGB in this is rotating at the same time as the RGB in the fans. So it'll kind of match up. The fans and the pump will, because obviously they're going to come on at the same time. When you switch your computer on, the RGB cycle is going to be the same for both of them. So yeah. So now the fans themselves, obviously, and the header, because there is no separate RGB lead, they're not going to be able to sync up with an RGB compatible motherboard. They're going to be independently controlled by their own controllers within the units, both within the fan and within the pump head. So not something you could use with, say, an ARGB system, or something like the RGB systems on Gigabyte boards or Asus boards or anything like that, where they've got dedicated RGB headers on the motherboard that can sync all your RGB together. these would be just totally independent. So it's probably the sort of system you would only use if you had nothing else RGB in your system. You'd use these just to get that little bit of bling into a PC. This wasn't expensive. I think this was about 50 quid, this AIO. So it's a budget entry into liquid cooling. I will at some point be doing a build with it just to see what it's like and see what sort of cooling we get on it. I'll probably end up using it on a Ryzen system, to be perfectly honest. When I do that build, I'll probably do the build first with the stock cooler that comes with it, with some overclocking, and then we'll change the stock cooler for this and overclock to the same levels, and to see where we come with temperatures. See if this gets the unit keeps the unit any cooler than the stock cooler that will come with that CPU. But for now, that's it. I do have another unboxing coming up soon, so please come back for that one. As usual, like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon to get notified for the next video. And as always, we'll see you in the next one.